I am a robot. I am a robot. I am a robot and I like to dance and clap and jump.
The Warforged comes to us in Everon Rising from the Last War, a campaign setting book for Everon by Keith Baker. Everon's personally one of my favorite campaign settings. It's got this really killer arcane steampunk flair, and Warforged are one of the races that really distinguishes it from the other campaign settings that are available. Warforged, in their whole lore and everything, were created to fight in this last war as like super soldiers. Whenever you're actually doing a campaign in Everon, if it takes place after the last war, you were one of the Warforged that possibly fought in it, and then now you're just trying to figure out where you fit into society. I do feel like there is a lot of ways to make a Warforged character very compelling. I actually had experience playing the Unearthed Arcana version of it for about 2 years with my character at Sir Hammond. He was a Warforged Forged Domain Cleric, and he was great. I couldn't lie with him. I loved that character. Got him all the way up to like level 15 before the campaign actually ended. It was a blast. So now that I have my new PC actually put together, and I've been doing some tests on video editing, I felt like I was now technologically superior, so I felt like it was a good time to go back and readdress the old Warforged video and show you guys what I think of the Warforged as they're presented now in Everon Rising from the Last War. Without any further ado, let's go over into D&D Beyond and check this race out. This flavor text for them is just incredible. Fierce was built by design, while you were built by accident, Lockish Dice said. The soul is what matters, not the shape of the vessel. What makes you think he has a soul, Gearson said. What makes you think you do? Like, Keith Baker, oh man, that is great flavor text. The Warforged were built to fight in the last war, while the first Warforged were mindless automatons. House Cannith devoted vast resources to improving these steel soldiers. An unexpected breakthrough produced sapient soldiers, giving rise to what some have only grudgingly accepted as a new species. Warforged are made from wood and metal, but they can feel pain and emotion. Built as weapons, they must now find a purpose beyond war. A Warforged can be a steadfast ally, a cold-hearted killer, or a visionary in search of meaning. So, opening up, like, they're still just trying to find their place in this world. They have, like, their court table right here. It's fantastic. So, Warforged traits. Starting off, their ability score increase. Your constitution score increases by 2, and one other ability score of your choice increases by 1. Other than something just straight up saying your ability score, an ability score of your choice increases by 2, and one other ability score of your choice increases by 2, I feel that this is possibly the best ability score increase that you can get in the game, period. Your constitution score increasing by 2 is huge for every single class. Now sure, some others are going to prioritize it more, but the flexibility that this is offering, you're never going to not want more hit points. Like, their ability score increase is just insane. Their base walking speed is 30 feet. Constructor Resilience. So here's where we're getting into all the stuff with Warforged. I kind of wish that this had included that they got the construct creature type. I know that the reason why they don't really throw around alternative creature types onto player characters is because spells like Hold Person exist, and Hold Person is weaker than Hold Monster. Like, Hold Monster I think is a 5th level spell, and Hold Person is a 3rd. So Hold Monster is stronger because it can affect other creature types other than humanoids. This, however, I think would make it to where if you did have Construct as your creature type, you couldn't be affected by Hold Person. You have to be affected by Hold Monster. So that might be the reason why they're balancing that out, but I'm not incredibly sure. Maybe for some healing stuff. But Constructor Resilience, you're created to have remarkable fortitude, represented by the following benefits. You have advantage on saving throws against being poisoned, and you have resistance to poison damage. So Dwarf gets that as well. It's incredible. Poison damage is incredibly common. You don't need to eat, drink, or breathe. You are immune to disease. You don't need to sleep, and magic can't put you to sleep. So I'm changing up a little bit here because the new computer, I'm working in Chrome again, finally. And I was trying to find a good highlighter, and there's just not a fantastic one out there for Google Chrome, but this one's doing the job. For those of you that are new here and wondering what the colors mean, purple are ones that I think are very versatile, very strong. It's going to be consistent throughout 1st to 20th level. Blue, I think, is strong, but not quite as strong as a purple feature. Green, I think, is the standard, like, okay, this could possibly just be, like, kind of useful, sure. It might just straight up be a ribbon feature, but it's not actually detrimental to your character. Orange, which you're not going to see on this one, orange is ones that I feel are noticeably weak, possibly verging on detrimental, and then red is straight up, your character is worse for having this on their character sheet. So with the color system here, with this being purple, this is incredibly strong. Resistance to poison damage. Poison damage is super common in D&D 5e. It's one of the most common damage types in the game. You don't need to eat, drink, or breathe. The strongest part of this most likely being breathing, unless you're sitting at a more survival-heavy table like I have, in which case I have rewritten Warforged to better suit my campaign setting because I like to track those survival elements like eating and drinking. Some DMs just kind of hand wave it, whatever. So you might feel that this is actually not that great. But breathing, poison gas traps, go underwater. I mean, you can't drown. Like there's a lot of benefits that you get from not having to breathe. You're immune to disease. Disease is mostly an environmental effect. There's monsters, like really famous ones like the Odiug, that do inflict disease. However, a disease is incredibly rare in D&D 5e, so this is, even the tech balance guys say that this is mostly a ribbon to get immunity to disease. You don't need to sleep, and magic can't put you to sleep. So, that's incredible. Like, how else do I put it? You are just straight up immune to the sleep spell. I do kind of wonder, I would say with the pseudo-dragon, like, its sting does count as magically putting something to sleep. That might not quite be a toxin, however, you've already got advantage on the saving throws against being poisoned, and then you have resistance to poison damage, so it's highly unlikely that if you roll with that, you're gonna somehow be knocked unconscious anyways. Sentry's Rest, so this one's blue. When you take a long rest, you must spend at least 6 hours in an inactive, motionless state, rather than sleeping. In this state, you appear inert, but it doesn't render you unconscious, and you can see and hear as normal. So because you have a Warforged, now you don't have to put up people on, like, different watches. This is the one thing that, like I said, as somebody that does track a lot of the survival elements of D&D, I don't like this. I really don't. I like the idea of people taking shifts, doing watches. This just makes it to where, like, oh, your Warforged is going to be your dude that's watching over everybody. Sure, there's the failsafe of perception checks or passive perception, whatever you want to say. I just really don't like that part of the feature. It's undoubtedly strong, but I don't like what it does for survivalist D&D. Integrated protection. Your body has built-in defensive layers, which can be enhanced with armor. You gain a flat, this is a flat +1 bonus to armor class. Whatever you're wearing, this adds on top of it. They're the only race to get something like that. It is so freaking good. You can don only armor with which you have proficiency. To don armor, you must incorporate it into your body over the course of 1 hour, during which you remain in contact with the armor. To doff armor, you must spend 1 hour removing it. You can rest while donning or doffing armor in this way. I rated it green, kind of a ribbon feature. While you live, your armor can't be removed from your body against your will. So they can't take your shield from you. These seem very, like, specific and very niche situations. So, moving on from that, specialized design, definitely purple. You gain 1 skill proficiency and tool proficiency of your choice. Of course, that's going to be fantastic. Languages, you can speak, read and write, common, and 1 other language of your choice. Warforged are meant to be very modular. You can put them into any class. They are fantastic as a race, but I think it's very reasonable for some DMs to say, I'm not going to allow Warforged, not just because it doesn't fit with my world setting, but this is one of the few races that I do genuinely feel that some DMs are right in saying that they could be too overpowered for their games. Especially if you run a survival-heavy one like I do, where, you are tracking, like, characters actually taking care of themselves, because you like that role play, right? Like, I want to cook for the party, and that introduces all kinds of fun role play. If you don't want that to get removed from your game, I would highly recommend probably making Warforged unavailable, or very heavily tweaking them. So I don't really disallow Warforged, but I have my own tweaks that I've made to it to make it a little bit more in line with my games. So let's go over into my racing class synergy analysis spreadsheet. So with Warforged, the tech balance guys gave it a 36. They're still working on their formatting for all of the Everon stuff, but you can see what they're ranking stuff just by, it's like they've got the text labeled as invisible right now. So across the board though, S+, absolutely. I think S+, and then in some certain campaigns, at some certain tables, this could absolutely be an OP race. They are significantly strong. It's almost like you're just taking variant human, but like you've got all the stuff already baked in that you're already kind of wanting to do everything you want to do with any of the classes. Like, it's nuts. It's nuts. So with the different classes, let me just think about it real quick. So Artificer, of course, you choose one to Intelligence. You got Constitution saving throw proficiency with Artificer. Now your con's going up by 2, +1 with all your stuff. Like, I mean, it's the same way going through with all these different, like, classes. Barbarian, your +2 to your con is going to immediately bump your AC up by 1, in addition to the bonus you're getting with the Warforged stuff. Take your +1 to either Dex or Strength. It's just incredible. So, like, I could do that for all these different classes, but I'm sure you're going to just see the pattern that emerges. Despite having a few features that I feel are just kind of like ribbony, they have enough carrying them through that was all they should have gotten. Like, they are an absolutely absurdly strong race. You know, whenever I had Sir Hammond, it was like I was getting his AC up to 27. You know, like, there were just moments where I didn't have to deal with some of the crap that the DM prepared because, like, the Warforged just has so many features that allow them to overcome what should be deadly stuff to other characters without issue. I love this race as a kind of base robotic, like, automaton race for your campaign worlds. You can rename it whatever you like. Warforged does feel very Everon specific. So, my final thoughts with resistance to poison damage and advantage on the saving throws against poison. You don't have to sleep. You don't need to eat or drink or breathe. You get a +2 to your constitution, +1 to one of your choice. Of course, this race is absurdly strong. S+ across the board. Like I said, possibly overpowered at some tables. It just depends on the kind of game you run. So that is going to be it for the Warforged. Thank you guys so much for being here. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think. Did I miss something about Warforged? Have you had a really fun Warforged character that you'd like to talk about? Leave it down there. It's been a lot of fun talking to you guys. So yeah, with all that being said, I hope you guys are staying safe, staying healthy, and I hope to see you in the next one.
I am a robot.
Robots need love too.